podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and joining me from an empty movie theater, it's your co-host, Nick Richardson.
It's pretty lonely in here, man. I must admit.
We're talking about some older movies, so that's why there's nobody there. You know, everyone's already seen these movies, but we're going to relive the 2010s today. We're going through a whole decade of movie superlatives. I didn't know that it could be done, but we're going to try.
We're going to give it our best shot.
Now, last year, it was actually our first episode we did together. We did the 2018 movie superlatives. That was kind of a thing I like to do, like the full year movie superlatives. But we got to do something special now that we're in 2020, so we went the full decade.
Yeah. And I think that was for the best. And I must say...
It's kind of like our 1 year anniversary, so you got to do something special.
Exactly. And I mean, for already doing 2018 movie superlatives, I think I only have one minimal mention of 2018 movies on this list, so that should tell you something. It was a decent decade. There's somewhat,
I think I have one 2018
from.
movie that actually won an award, and then I've got some honorable mentions in there as well, but maybe not. I don't know.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I'll have to see. When we go through it, I'm sure we'll come up with it. So for anyone who's new or has just forgotten the rules of movie superlatives, we give one award per movie and one movie per award. Basically, as long as you can justify how the movie fits in this category, which for this one, it's easy. Was it released between 2010 and 2019? It counts. And we had to have watched these movies. We can't pick a movie that we never saw. That's just not fair.
No, it's cheating.
So for the 2010s, it had to be released in the 2010s. So between January 1st, 2010 to December 31st, 2019 in theaters or straight to streaming. You had to be able to see it within the calendar years of 2010 to 2019. When I put my list together, because as listeners know, and as you know, I'm very analytical. I pulled all these lists from IMDb of movies released in years. Mm-hmm. I had a total of 597 movies to choose from to give these 10 awards. So we're doing 10 awards instead of 5 because there's so many.
Jesus. Tell me this. Did you look at all 597?
Yes, I scrolled through all of them and tried to see if they fit. So here's how I did it.
Dude, that's dynamite.
I went through each list and I mashed all 9 lists together and scrolled through to see and basically just marked if I saw it or not, or if I remembered it. Now, that's not the most scientific because there are definitely movies that weren't on those lists. Because as I was going through, I was like, oh, I never saw this movie on the list, and I had to add it myself. So there were probably 20 movies that I had to add just out of my memory that I was like, oh, these didn't show up anywhere in my lists. And then there were other movies that I probably forgot I saw. Which,
sure
I mean, they would have won the most forgettable award, but if I don't even remember that I saw it, then it has to be something I remember that I saw to forget, to win the most forgettable.
What a conundrum.
Yeah, it's quite the conundrum there. So there were some movies, and I might have just missed some going through the list, but I ended up with 597. So I took that 597, and I basically, if it qualified for one of the awards, I went back through and put like a letter for which award it would qualify for. And let me see, I should have a number on how many qualified for awards. Yeah, out of 597, 113 qualified for awards. So that's pretty good.
That's not too bad.
No.
That's pretty good diversity. I was not nearly that thorough.
I just knew there was no way I could think of, like, I feel like I would have left something out if I didn't have a list in front of me to look through.
That probably would have helped me make, come to easier conclusions, because I spent a lot of time on this trying to nail it, because it's like,
It's hard to just think of a movie. What was the best movie? I don't fucking know. There were 600 movies released in this time.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, but I think this went through like 7 or 8 drafts where it's like, yeah, I like this for best movie or this for XYZ, and then it kind of changes, and then eventually they all settled, so that's helpful.
Yeah. So let's real quick run down what awards we were going to give out. The most surprising award, that's just the movie that exceeded your expectations the most, and then on the other side of that, most disappointing. That's a movie you're hoping was better, and it was trash.
You're trash.
And not even necessarily trash, just like didn't live up to. I gave it to Ready Player One in the 2018 movie superlatives, And that's a solid movie, but I was expecting much more of it, having read the book first.
Yeah,
Best
I think we
performance.
both agreed on that.
Yeah, I believe we did too. Best performance was basically your best actor actress category from the if you're translating the Oscars over to this. And then we also have the best character, which we have a Twitter poll on that, which is regardless of who played them, who was the most fun to watch on screen, like which character. We've got the most forgettable movie, as mentioned. That's one like you watched it, and as soon as you left the theater, you have no idea what any of the plot points were.
Or even halfway through the movie.
I had a lot in contention for that, but I think you'll like what I ended up choosing.
Yeah, I got a couple myself.
Most rewatchable, which is, again, pretty much the exact opposite of forgettable. This is a movie that you can just put on anytime and you're in. The most important movie, this is in terms of cultural significance with the world. The worst movie, that's obvious. The best movie, and this is from like a technical, critical standpoint. This would be one, most likely to win the Oscar for best movie or best picture. And then we have favorite movie, which is completely subjective. Which one do you like the best? And we're actually going to do a top 5 for favorite movie, and then just expand on our number 1. So that should be fun.
Wait. It's going to be dope.
At this point in recording, we may or may not split this into 2 parts. We will decide when we get about halfway through how long it takes to get there and how long we think we have left to go. You'll know in about an hour whether we split it into 2 or not.
Because I got some serious talking points. There's a lot of good shit that I want to talk about.
But I think my big talking points are in the bottom half of this. So I don't know which side will go faster. But we'll see. And we're just going to roll with it and see how it comes out.
Dude, let's do it.
Should we just jump into it?
Let's do it.
Before we jump into it, as we're talking movies, the uniforms for Space Jam 2 were unveiled today.
Dude, I saw those.
The Monstars ones look dope.
Well, tell me why the Monstars, like the mannequin, kind of looked a little slim. Wouldn't they be jacked? The other one looked like LeBron James.
Well, yeah, the other one's definitely modeled on James. I'm thinking the other one, the Monstars, is modeled on Durant, maybe? Arms aren't long enough. Maybe Steph Curry.
I was thinking Steph Curry.
Yeah, it seems smaller than the Toon Squad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Steph
like a
Curry.
Fucking tank.
I've just got to find my our Twitter question of the day. There we go. All right. So, all right, 1 award per movie, 1 movie per award. We had to have seen the movie. Let's jump into it. Most surprising. What do you got first on the docket?
Dude, most surprising. And this one took a lot of thought, a lot of deep meditation.
This was my hardest one to pick,
a lot of soul searching. It was tough because I was caught off guard by a good few movies. I will say from 2010 to 2020, I was a 17-year-old person in 2010, and I am now going to be 27 in like a month. So that's a big time. You're going through a lot of changes. So a lot of surprises.
I was 22 to 32, so I mean that's same thing there. You're just getting out of college to like being a real true adult.
Yeah, I mean you learn a lot of shit along the way. So to settle on this one, it came out in 2016, and it was absolutely stunning when I saw it. And that movie is Rogue One.
Good choice.
I fucking loved Rogue One. It was great. I liked it more than any of the Skywalker, the second or third Skywalker trilogy, whatever you want to call it, and any of the new movies, basically. I have liked it more than any of them. And it stands up in the top 3 for me. We all knew what was going to happen, and that's what made it so surprising for me when they said what it was going to be about. And I kind of saw all the stuff coming out about it, and how Star Wars fans are, they investigate to death everything about
let's stop
anything.
Let's just like try and get to the movie and enjoy it there.
Well, so I mean, that kind of worked to my advantage in this regard, because it's I didn't give it the time of day, I didn't look at anything regarding Rogue One. And then when I finally saw it in theaters, I was stunned by how good it was.
So I have to admit that Rogue One was on a lot of my potential choices, and I never pulled the trigger on it.
I had to, man.
On any of my, so I don't give it. I'm glad you gave it an award. It got a lot of honorable mention in my stuff, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it because there's always something a little bit better for my categories. But you're right. It was just like it could have been anything. It could have been absolute garbage the first time we're walking away from the Skywalkers, and can Star Wars exist outside of the Jedi and the Force and the dark side and these big villains? Because Darth Vader was there, Kylo Ren had shown up, we had Darth Maul, Emperor Palpatine. Can it exist as just a straight war movie without the overall pull of the light and dark playing into it, and just be a movie about people who we know probably aren't going to make it out of the movie? And it did a fantastic job.
Yeah, definitely aren't going to make it out of the movie, and we know their goal, and we know that they accomplished their goal, but we don't necessarily know how, and the how is what made it so fun. The performances were fantastic.
Absolutely.
Mads Mikkelsen was great. I'm a big Donnie Yen fan. He was really cool to see in that. And I mentioned
every
it before.
single performance was great in that too.
Oh, dude. Every single one. And just, there's probably a few things I want to say I didn't like, but none come to mind. I thought
there's very little I don't like in that movie. You get the great Darth Vader scene at the end.
That's what really did it for me in regards to surprising, because I figured, fuck, the movie's over.
That was kept under wraps too. Nobody knew Vader was coming, so that was really cool to see him.
That was the coolest scene in Star Wars, in my opinion. Period. Just, it's absolutely stunning when you think about it, because you see exactly what kind of force he is. Because a lot of the stuff he did in the past movies, or whenever he was relevant in the older films, it was kind of subjective. Like, you had to imagine a lot of it, but that was just so brutal, so efficient. It was
things
nasty.
that happened off screen that people talked about. It wasn't, you didn't actually get to see him be this force to be reckoned with. And since we did Star Wars month last month, I've been reading the Darth Vader comics, and you get a lot out of that he was this like true force, and even a contender for Palpatine's position. He's constantly trying to unseat him in different ways, and you see his ultimate power and his scheming and just what he's capable of. And Rogue One gives you that on screen, which is fantastic. And I think had we been doing this in 2017 and we did 2016 movie awards, movie superlatives, Rogue One would have been up for absolutely all of them, other than like the bad categories, obviously.
I'm sure. Definitely. Yeah. It was a great movie.
That 2016 would have been really hard to do it with, because we would have had Rogue One in all those spots and be like, okay, which one does Rogue One actually fit in?
Yeah, we would just have, that would be a very boring episode, because we would just pick that for one of them, and the rest would be just booty garbage time.
The rest would be like, well, we wanted to pick Rogue One, but really, since we already picked it, we had to pick this instead.
Yeah, we had to slide in here. So yeah, that was my pick for most surprising, is Rogue One, released in 2016. Super dope, love it. Yeah, dope.
That's hard to argue with. But I'm also going to 2016.
Nice.
Little different feel for my movie. This is Trolls.
Trolls?
Yes, the children's classic. And I call it a classic because that's what it is. Yes, it's got a great voice cast with Anna Kendrick, Justin Timberlake, Jeffrey Tambor's in there, Zooey Deschanel, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Christine Baranski's in there. A lot of great voice actors going into it. Everybody's putting their all. And honestly, going into it, like, I didn't go see this in the theater. I watched it with my kids at home because they saw the pretty pictures at Redbox and wanted it, right? That's how you watch kids move. Yep. And going into it, I'm thinking, okay, this is just like this cash grabby, pretty movie for kids. Just something for kids to look at with these little catchy, annoying songs that, parents can tune out and let their kids watch, try and bring back this old IP and sell new toys, all that good stuff. I was dead fucking wrong. This movie awesome. Is great. It's one of my favorite kids movies, honestly. The music is really good. You got Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick, who are great musical performers that sing most of the songs throughout it. They sing, there's a couple original songs, and then they do some covers of things too, which are always really good. The performances outside of the singing are great by all the voice actors I mentioned, and kind of all the surrounding characters. It looks beautiful, and the plot is even pretty engaging for a kids movie. You know, you go into a kids movie, you're not expecting much out of a plot. But this, it grabs your attention. This was like the first time I watched it, I was doing a million different things in the background. I wasn't paying attention to it. My kids were watching it. I'm not paying attention, and I'll admit I was pretty excited when they wanted to go back and watch it again, because it's a toss up whether they pay attention to it and they're like, yeah, let's watch it again a million fucking times, or if they're like 10 minutes in, they're just completely tuned out. Ugly Dolls is the one that 10 minutes in, they were just completely tuned out and didn't give a shit, which is great because Ugly Dolls is terrible.
I've never even heard of that. But that's dope that Trolls can come back like that in a new generation. I remember having Trolls back in the day.
Yeah, and these Trolls are really cool. They got a lot going on there, more than just your rub their belly. You know, they got hug time. There's a talking cloud that is really trippy. It'd probably be a really good movie to watch on shrooms. I've never done shrooms, but it seems like one of those things, you know. But I was excited that my kids wanted to go back and watch this because, like, as it started to get towards the end, I was like, well, I really care about these characters now. But I wasn't paying attention in the beginning, so I wanted to go back and I really wanted to pay attention to it and see what was going on, and I got that chance. And with a lot of kids movies, you know, you're just ready for them to end. Yeah. And there's really no depth to them, but your kids, you know, they love the colorful characters, and there's like one song or something little that they grab onto, and they just want to watch that over and over and over and over again. But this one, like that, most kids movies, they wear you down as they watch them over. Trolls, it's not like that. I could watch Trolls a million times and I would still love it. And going into it, I thought it was just going to be really, really stupid. After all, Justin Timberlake does not have a great track record with picking movies.
No, he's terrible.
But they hit the nail.
But he's got a great voice.
Yeah, he's got a great voice. He should stick to voice acting. They're making a sequel. I think it comes out this year. I saw the toys in Target today, so yeah, it definitely comes out soon. That one looks a little more cash grabby, but I'm okay with it. Like I'm in on the Trolls world. Trolls is a really cool movie. If you have kids and you haven't seen it, even if you don't have kids, go watch it anyways. It's pretty cool to watch.
I might have to check that out.
Your daughter will love it.
I'm sure she will. If it's colorful and they sing and shit like that, she's all about that right now.
Yeah.
She absolutely loves My Little Pony, which they don't really sing too much in My Little Pony, but she's been watching a lot of silly little shows. But anyway, I will have to check this.
Just don't get her into the Barbie movies. Avoid the Barbie movies at all costs.
I will do so. I'll just put on Trolls. Yeah, Thank you for that. You've saved me a whole lot of heartache.
Trolls is great.
Well, I love those those animated movies from back in the day and stuff like that are still fun to watch as an adult. Those are rare to come across, and that's awesome that they have another one that's relatively recent.
Yeah, you would enjoy it, and if you don't, you can come and yell at me on our next episode.
I will berate you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm giving you a guarantee that you will. I'm not saying you'll love it, but you will enjoy it for sure. Like it's not everyone's gonna like it. I get that everybody's got different tastes, but it's enjoyable for both kids and adults. It reminded me a lot of like the first time I watched Shrek. And how fun that was.
I love Shrek.
Yeah. It's not the same kind of humor. Fun. It's not the same kind of humor, but like I had that much fun watching it.
Shrek was fantastic. It still is fantastic. I watched it like 2 weeks ago.
Sequels, not so much.
No, but my wife, I'll get home from work and she's popped it on.
I've been trying hard to get my kids into Shrek. Like I'll just throw it on when they're not paying attention every once in a while. And we get about a quarter of the way in, they're like, "No, we don't want to watch this."
You're like, "Please
put on Muppet Babies, damn it."
Come on.
Which Muppet Babies are. All right, so let's flip the coin. Let's go most disappointing. This is a movie we were hoping would be better. I had 14 options potentially for this one, and I landed on Uncle Drew from 2018.
I never saw that, but it looked
Don't bother.
Like shit. They had a billboard for it in my city, which they don't have billboards for much. I mean, they have like 10 or 12 around the west side of town, which is like the nicer side of town, and Uncle Drew was up there for like 6 months.
So here's the thing. This was a really hard decision. This is probably my second hardest to make. I had a lot. I was leaning back into Ready Player One, but I covered that last year. I didn't want to go back to that well. There were 3 or 4 that really seemingly had great casts, but the movies were just garbage, or they had weird plots that didn't utilize the cast correctly. I'm talking Runner with Ben Affleck and Justin Timberlake again. There's another bad Timberlake movie. Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal. X-Men Apocalypse looked like it should have been really good and it was bad. Glass
Terrible.
Glass looked like it should have been good and it was bad. There's this movie Promised Land, which was about fracking, but it had Matt Damon and John Krasinski. So I was like, and the trailers didn't ever show anything. So, but they were trying to sell like it's Matt Damon and John Krasinski. I was like, oh, this will be funny and just like an easy watch. And it was like this weird thing where they're going through this Idaho town. One of them's trying to talk people into letting them do fracking, and the other one's trying to talk them out of letting the community do fracking. It was don't watch Promised Land.
Sounds butt.
Yeah, it's not good. Don't be pulled in by Matt Damon and John Krasinski. And in the end, my final decision came down to Uncle Drew versus Brightburn. And the problem with Brightburn is I didn't really know about Brightburn or really have any expectations for it until after it had already been released, and hashtag film Twitter was just all over it, talking about how great it is. And
no shit.
It had this really great concept, and they just kind of butchered it in favor of going too far into violence and gore. Have you seen Brightburn yet?
No, I wanted to see it really bad, and I wanted to wait till the reviews came out, and I saw a lot of them that just dogged it for being...
It's interesting, but they don't go far enough into what it could have been. Mm-hmm. They take this great concept of what if Superman was bad? Like, what if Superman didn't grow up with the Kent family and just
he was a psychopath.
Not yeah. And they didn't explore that enough, and they just took it and let's make him fucking kill people in gory ways. And so that movie doesn't qualify as disappointing because I didn't really have expectations for it. It should have been a better movie, but I didn't have expectations for it. So that left Uncle Drew, which I was super fucking excited for.
I was too, man. The YouTube videos for that shit.
Uncle Drew YouTube videos have always been great. Like Kyrie Irving's been doing that for like 4 years, and him and Kevin Love, and they've just been building up. And then this movie, and they've got Shaq in it, they've got Reggie Miller, they've got Lisa Leslie, they've got Chris Webber. A lot of good, like kind of funny NBA players that can do some things in this movie. And it could have been and should have been this generation's Space Jam. Just this like stupid movie, like absolutely stupid, which is fine, but ultimately super exciting and fun to watch. And
dude, it would have been great.
Instead, it was just a bunch of old NBA dudes in makeup with Tiffany Haddish and Nick Kroll, like doing their best to annoy everyone for long stretches of time.
That's not hard for either of them.
No, I am not a Tiffany Haddish fan at all. Like Nick Kroll is fine in very, very small doses, or if he has somebody good, like he's really good in the league where he's more playing off of everybody else. But
yeah,
there's no way I could watch Kroll Show.
Can't stand him in Parks and Rec. Kroll Show is decently funny at times, but other times it's like,
I like him in Parks and Rec because he's playing the douche way over the top, and it's a small enough part that like it's funny because he's doing it to be over the top, and then like he's even a character within the character because when he's almost Anne's baby daddy, he like falls into his real persona, and he's like, no, that's just a character I play. I went to Northwestern, I'm super smart, like. So, like, I got the humor in that for Parks and Rec, but, like, he can be super annoying, and so can Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish is only super annoying.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it really should have just been an opportunity for all these NBA players to have fun, and instead it kind of bogged itself down, not only in the Tiffany Haddish and Kroll stuff, but the plot got deeper than it ever should have in a movie like this. Like, Space Jam doesn't take too long exploring the plot of aliens invade Earth, and the Looney Tunes challenge them to a basketball game. It's all you need to know. I couldn't explain.
It's pretty out there.
I couldn't explain why these NBA players were in this street ball tournament if my life depended on it, because like it was so like convoluted of why they had to round them all up and why like no, just like they're this old guy team. They're playing the young guys. That's all you need. You don't need, not every franchise needs to take notes from Fast and Furious, but there are definitely some that need to. Uncle Drew doesn't need a super heavy plot, and it doesn't need Tiffany Haddish and or Nick Kroll to be entertaining. They can just roll the ball out there and let these NBA players do what they do in old people makeup, and it would have been entertaining. I've got some other candidates who need to learn from Fast and Furious. The Birds of Prey coming up next month. Just have fun with that movie. Don't get bogged down in plot. Like, that movie could be super fun. Suicide Squad could have been super fun, but they're like, no, we need it to be gritty. You don't have to have a serious or gritty tone. We just want to have fun watching movies sometimes. Fast and Furious, at the very least, gets that. Some of these movies need to get that. Kevin Hart gets
still, have a a gritty tone and have a fun movie. I
Can
mean
you?
that exists.
Which one?
I mean, I'm on the spot here, but
Yeah.
that still exists.
I'll be
Rogue
waiting.
One's a gritty fucking movie.
What is?
Rogue One.
Yeah, and it's fun, but it's not fun in a way like Fast and Furious, like where it's not taking itself seriously. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like Birds of Prey should not take itself seriously in any way.
Oh hell no! If they do, then
They've got a
they
great
might as
cast.
well.
They're bringing in Black Mask, which is a great villain,
Yeah, Ewan McGregor
and
especially.
yeah,
That's
with
gonna be
Ewan
fucking
McGregor,
awesome,
like
dude.
that. There's a lot of room to just play in the sandbox, and then they can even go into like it if they just have fun with it and don't take themselves too seriously. They can bring in some of those weirder Batman villains too. You bring in people like Clayface or Killer Croc that don't make sense in a gritty, realistic movie, but still exist in this world. Like you can have fun with those types of things.
Oh man, I'd love to see like
But having
Calendar Man, Mad
right,
Hatter.
but yeah, Mad Hatter's a great one. I love Mad Hatter, but trying to make like Killer Croc this gritty and realistic villain, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
No, he's a shadowy character who eats people.
And he
I mean,
looks like a fucking alligator.
yeah, and he's jacked.
He is jacked. All right,
He's
so
fucking always jacked.
what was your most disappointing movie of the 2010s?
Dude, this one bummed me out beyond belief because it's based off a book.
Okay.
Just to
Is it
throw
Ready
that out
Player
there.
One?
No, I
Twilight.
did not repeat. No, that was disappointing too. I did read those books. I will say that the books were half decent. They were pretty decent.
You know what I started reading this week? I'm sorry to get
What's
it
that?
off topic, but I just started The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'd never read that before.
Love that book. Love it. It's
I'm on
fantastic.
like chapter 6 right now, and I haven't really gotten into it. I'm having a hard time like following the narrator because he keeps
really
kind of jumping point of views, and it's confusing me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not reading it. I'm listening to it on audiobook, so like there's a little difference there. But yeah, I having a little trouble focusing on the narrator, but it's really funny in its absurdity, which I like.
See, with that, I read it, so I read it slowly. I meandered.
It seems
through
like
that book.
it may be better for that, but there are some really good jokes in it, and like just really good setups for things they're not outright jokes, but they're like these weird situations that make the whole thing funnier.
Mm-hmm.
So far, and like I said, I'm not very far into it. I'm like an hour into the 6 hours of the listening, so I'm excited to finish it.
You'll enjoy it. And this was, I mean, based off a book that I fucking read it. It was something I came across just one day. I read it on the internet, and I got it on Kindle and read it in like 3 hours. I could not put it down.
That fast.
I can read pretty fast when I'm into it, but it was adapted into a movie in 2012, and holy shit, it was disappointing. It's Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh, I remember that one.
Dude, I loved that book. That book was so good. It was I don't know. It
That's
was just
another
something
movie that should definitely not take itself too seriously.
No, it took itself way too seriously, and that's what the book didn't, man. The book was
No.
just this goofy little
go all in,
fun,
man.
silly. I mean, it was like 250 pages.
Was
maybe
Henry Pollard in
300.
it?
I don't remember.
No, from that's in Party Down. Adam Scott's character's up for the part of young Lincoln in the movie that it's on the yacht party or whatever. J.K. Simmons is the dad for the Super Sweet 16, and he's got this movie that they're producing, and Breckin Meyer's in there as like this dude that is playing in this Abraham Lincoln vampire movie, and they try and get Adam Scott's character to be young Lincoln in it. You know, remember that?
Shit.
Party? You need to watch Party Down like 8 more times, dude.
I'm fucking up, man. I'm sorry.
It's only 20 episodes. Get back on it.
I'm talking about this show, and it's just pissing me off. Or this movie. I mean, the novel was fantastic. It was directed by some fucking Banana Land name guy, so
I mean, you kind of have to be at that. When you're going Lincoln Vampire Hunters, Spielberg's not gonna direct that.
No, but I mean the guy that directed Timur Bekmambetov.
Oh yeah, yeah. Great movie.
Come on, you're directing something about Abraham Lincoln. You need a Midwestern name like Gary Davis or something.
Yeah. Shout out Gary Davis.
Yeah, I
Great
do know
director.
Gary Davis. He could direct it. It would have been probably better than this fucking piece of trash. It was so bad, man. I was all pumped up and excited. The previews made it look really good. At
Yeah.
least I thought it made it look really good. I liked the casting, and I thought the dude that played young Lincoln did a good young Lincoln. And then it came out, and I went and saw it in theaters, and I was sad because it was so fucking bad. It just did not translate. It was like a video game movie almost, like Doom.
Video game movies are rough.
So Doom should have been great. I mean,
I never played Doom or watched the movie Doom, so I can't hang with you there. But
Doom
every
is
other
just
video
a run
game
and
movie out
gun.
there, Assassin's Creed's a good example. Did you watch Assassin's Creed?
No, I did not. I almost
terrible.
did, and then I remembered it was fucking trash. And that's how Doom was.
Yeah.
It had a great cast. I mean, it's a run and gun game. Fucking saw demons in half with a chainsaw. Yeah, I mean, it's great. And it should have been an awesome movie. You should have had fun with it, as this movie should have been fun. And it wasn't.
Assassin's Creed, not to get off topic again, but they went super deep into how this machine works. And it's like, we don't need that. Just be like, this is a machine. We hook you up to it. You go back in time and kill people. Like, that's all you need. You don't have to talk for an hour about how the fucking machine works. Or Michael Fassbender has to train in the machine. No, just fucking send him back in time. Let him kill some people.
How long was he actually the assassin in the movie? Was he
40%.
Like 10 minutes? 40%? That's whack. It should have been 95%.
Yes, exactly.
What the fuck?
But yeah, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, there's no one thing, there's not one single thing about that says serious gritty movie, and it should not be.
No, it's terrible.
It should just be like, let's watch Lincoln with a shotgun mowing down vampires.
Not even,
I guess
just
it's
this
a wooden
axe,
stake.
an axe that he would just blow them to pieces with, and he's a buddy with a vampire and shit like that, and I'm a big history nerd, and I'm also from Illinois, specifically. I'm not going to say the city I'm from, but it's a big Lincoln area. You do know it. And we're big on Lincoln here. So something where it's like, oh, dope. That's really cool to think, oh, yeah, in an alternate reality, maybe vampires exist, and they altered the timeline because Abraham Lincoln.
Was Edgar Allan Poe in it? I just thought as you were talking, I remembered that in that show, Breckenmeyer was supposed to be playing Edgar Allan Poe, and Adam Scott was going to be young Lincoln. So was Edgar Allan Poe in the real Vampire Slayers?
Yes.
He was. Nice. I never saw it, so.
It was not good. Just letting you know.
They should have had Breckenmeyer and Adam Scott in it, honestly.
If it had Adam Scott as young Lincoln, I hope he would have delivered the same performance he did in Hellraiser.
Hellraiser 4.
Hellraiser 4. Bloodline.
I could honestly see Adam Scott as young Lincoln.
He could do it.
I don't think he's tall. He's not tall enough, but I mean, Tom Cruise is 5'1", and they make him look like he's 7'2". I think we could figure it out.
He feels like he's got that big dick energy too.
Tom Cruise does?
Fuck yeah.
I mean, yeah, I watched Top Gun again last week, and you're right.
He really fucking does, man. We'll talk about Tom Cruise a little later.
We will.
But I mean, let me just say this: the movie Collateral, holy fuck,
such a good movie.
Big dick energy.
I gotta watch that again.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Jamie Foxx is really good in that too.
Yeah, he's fantastic. That was my first introduction to Jamie Foxx.
They did on the Rewatchables podcast, which I'll probably refer to a lot on this because a lot of my ideas come from them because I listen to it a lot. They did an episode on Collateral, and they were pointing out all these. I haven't seen that movie in probably 10 years, maybe more. Probably not since I was in college. And they were pointing out like Mark Ruffalo's in it, and they were pointing out a bunch of like side characters of the people like that they meet and kill on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Are all these like now famous actors, and like I never even noticed it. So like I need to go back and rewatch it and pick out these subtler performances.
I watched it probably 6 months ago when I was sitting up with my daughter, and it was just like, fuck yeah, I'm
Great
so glad
movie
I sat
for a
up.
1-year-old.
Oh yeah. I mean, she loved it.
You know what?
She was just like,
it kind of
Tom
is
Cruise.
though. It's quiet, it's slow. It's not. There's never too much adrenaline going on in it. There's a couple scenes where they get going fast. There's no loud music. Kind of is a good baby movie. I'll give you
Tom
that.
Cruise is talking like this.
Yeah, he's got
So
that
it's like,
gray
yeah, okay.
hair.
Yeah, he
You got
looks
the
like
you got the
yeah.
weird wolf in L.A. scene to the wolf howling to soothe her to sleep. All right, I'll give it to you. I was sarcastic at first, but I'm gonna let it slide now.
Ride or die.
All right, so let's go to best perform. Is that all you had on Vampire Slayer?
That's all I had. It was
Okay.
fucking trash.
I'm
If you
sorry
haven't
about
seen
that.
it, don't see it.
Best performance. You go first this time,
Okay,
which is
this
good because I've
is
got about 45 notes on my pick.
this was really, really hard for me to come to a conclusion on, and I couldn't come on one single person.
That's
I
what she said.
chose but for best performance, in the notes you put basically the best actor or actress Oscar. So I chose an actor and actress, and I
Ooh,
chose Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway from Interstellar in 2014.
that's a good pick. I think I had that on
They
my choices. Maybe not.
A lot of people hated on that
I
movie,
like
and
that movie.
overall, I think it's a little too long.
Yes.
But I thought they acted their fucking asses off among an entire cast that acted their fucking asses off. It, they blew me away, especially Matthew McConaughey. That was he was the Lincoln guy when Jim Carrey made fun of him, like rolling his boogers and shit like that. So it's something I never took him seriously, and this was something that really changed it for me.
Yeah, this was really when he was starting to make his comeback. And I'm going to pick a movie that McConaughey is in. He's not my pick, but I'm picking a movie with him in it that kind of goes with the whole McConaissance theme. But Interstellar was that deserves a rewatch too. It's a little long and a little drawn out, and it's easy to get lost in it. But it ties
It's
itself together pretty good too. It's not nearly as
definitely
confusing as something like Memento or what's the other one? Inception's not confusing necessarily. It's just hard to keep track of the levels. Uh,
yeah. I mean,
Interstellar
there's
doesn't
a
really
lot
do
going
that.
on.
You Interstellar you have to just watch and then wait till the end, and the questions are answered at the end. You can't watch it trying to figure out the answers in the middle because they're not there. With
No,
those
and
other movies, you can kind of try and figure them out as it goes. With Interstellar, you got to get the answer at the end.
well, and it toys with your emotion the entire way. It's heartbreak, it's action, it's thriller, it's love, and all kinds of crazy shit. And those guys really personified a whole breadth of emotion in a movie, in one single movie, and they did it in such a way that I thought was fantastic. The whole cast was so good. If I could nominate all of them for their acting jobs in this movie, I would, but I chose just those two
Well, and you see it with Anne
be better.
Hathaway first when when they find Matt Damon's spoilers for literally every movie we're going to talk about. But
Oh, hell
they
yeah.
find Matt Damon's character, and she has to make this decision of what to do because he's her ex fiance or ex husband, whatever. I don't remember. They had some relationship, right? And then he turns out to be just a dick who wants to get off this planet right away.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
And basically, that's what it was. She had to make the decision whether to go to the safer planet that's not going to lose them as much time, or go towards Matt Damon, who she loved. And she chooses to go to Damon, and he completely screws them over, and they lose like 100 years or something like crazy like that, going to that planet instead of the other one. And then you see the same thing with McConaughey when he has to make the choice to go into the bookshelf through the black hole. Is the
Yeah,
best way to explain
yeah.
it.
It's trippy as
He
shit.
can at this point he can kind of try and return home to what's left of his family, or he can choose to accomplish his mission. And you see it in his performance how difficult that decision was for the character to make.
It was
And
tough
they
to
both did
watch.
an excellent job. That's a really good pick that I'll admit I didn't consider. They were not in my. I had 20 potentials, and neither of them were in my potentials for best performance.
Surprisingly, it's a really under the radar movie. I remember watching. It was one of those that I watched when it came out on DVD, and then I turned around and watched it again because
It
it was
it definitely necessitates that. I still haven't rewatched it since the first time because it's a little long.
it's pretty long, but I needed some sci-fi in my life at the
Yeah,
time. It was
great
just like
sci-fi.
I need a good dose of this, and it hit me right in the feels.
I'll give you that.
But yeah, that's my pick.
Great pick.
Best performance, Interstellar.
I'm gonna beat it though.
Hell no.
Like I said, it's another movie with McConaughey. It's not a McConaughey movie though.
Dude,
Leonardo DiCaprio The Wolf of Wall Street 2013.
God damn it.
So I just rewatched this a couple weeks ago, and it could be recency bias for me, but I don't really think it is. Leo really should have won his Oscar for this movie and not The Revenant.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Sidebar, The Revenant is absolute trash. You would never
What?
watch it again. It's not good. It's
Dude, okay,
boring. Nothing happens. Like, yeah,
the first half hour of that
Leo
movie is intense as shit. And
Leo
pretty
does
solid.
what he needs to, and he's doing a good job in The Revenant. Tom Hardy was a better actor in The Revenant than Leo was.
Oh, hell yeah. It's
I was
beautiful.
drawn more
Domhnall
to
Gleeson was great in that,
yeah,
too.
I was drawn more to Tom Hardy's character than I was to Leo's throughout the whole movie. Just The Wolf of Wall Street is far and above better than it. It's a far and above better performance. I'll go into that a little bit, but he just does such a good job of embodying the psychopath that Jordan Belfort was.
Seriously.
He simultaneously somehow makes this lifestyle look terrifying and endlessly entertaining. And he's playing this character. The character's 10 years younger at least than Leo actually is at the time. And Leo's this guy who he's never gotten into drugs. He's never been like too big into like getting hammered. So he's just kind of acting.
That we know of.
Right. That's the perception of him, is that he's not into these things. So this performance is just based on what he thinks this should be, what Jordan Belfort's told him what it's like, just his feeling about being out of your mind but functional all at the same time. He's like truly acting. In The Revenant, he's just out there suffering for 3 hours.
Yeah, the movie is like the Passion of the Christ.
I don't know that's
in
acting as much as it's suffering in The Revenant. In Wolf of Wall Street, he's acting. He is completely embodying a completely different person than he is. He makes you want this piece of shit who first is constantly winning throughout the movie. You want him to actually win in the end, but at the same time, he should go to jail. I don't know
he's a total piece of shit.
that another actor could have pulled off this performance. And
Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt could have done it.
Brad Pitt could have done it 10 years before. Brad Pitt in 2013 is too old to play Jordan Belfort because Leo was almost too old to play Jordan Belfort. So I have this fun game that I play where basically I switch Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio in their roles to see if the other could have pulled off and which way it would have been better. For almost any movie that either of them is in, the answer is Matt Damon. No, the answer is always Matt Damon.
What?
Except in Wolf of Wall Street. Matt Damon is just more entertaining and more likable.
He's too quirky.
Right, that's why he couldn't be the Wolf of Wall Street.
No,
you put young Matt Damon in Titanic. That's a better movie. Put young Leo in Good Will Hunting. That movie's garbage.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree.
Put Matt Damon in Catch Me If You Can. It's about the same, I think. I don't think you lose anything putting Matt Damon in Catch Me If You Can. Put
Leonardo DiCaprio in the Bourne trilogy.
No.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Trash.
Leo
That's
in
trash.
the Oceans trilogy. Can't do it. He can't do it. He can't do Matt Damon's part. I think Matt Damon can do more things. But again, with The Wolf of Wall Street, it's far and away Leo. There's no other actor that you could plug into that role and have the movie be as good as it is. The only other one I would consider is maybe Christian Bale. If you're thinking American Psycho type Christian Bale, maybe.
I could see this may be a little weird, but Robert Pattinson, I could see him doing that. If you've never seen Good Times,
I am a Pattinson fanatic. I love Pattinson. I'll watch him in almost anything. I hate the Twilight movies, but I just watched Lighthouse. It's a rough watch.
Is it like bad rough or
no?
Is it just
it's interesting. I watched it on the airplane. It's a confusing movie. Not confusing plot wise. It's just like I don't even know how to explain it.
It's just like what?
Yeah, it's an indie darling for sure.
I like indie darlings.
I love him, and I love Pattinson. I'll watch Pattinson now. I'll watch him in pretty much every movie he's in. And I loved it after like the last 2 Twilight movies or 3 Twilight movies. You could just see he's completely checked out, which is great. Yeah. He's like, I'm by far the best actor here. Get me the fuck out of these movies so I can go be good. And then he took like this long break where he did all these indies, and he's great in all of them. And the movies weren't always great, but he has always been great.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor.
And yeah, I loved him, and I'm excited to see him as Batman.
Dude, it's gonna be so.
But I'm excited
dope.
to see. Have you seen High Life?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
That's a good one. Watch that before The Lighthouse. High Life is better than The Lighthouse.
I'll have to check that
I'm gonna
out.
get some hate from hashtag film Twitter there, but it is.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll
see.
And then just one more thing on the Wolf of Wall Street, but it's a really long thing, so that'll be fun.
Hit me.
There's something else that was pointed out on the Rewatchables podcast, which this is what, while my wife and I were on vacation, we usually listen to these Rewatchables podcasts together about movies we've seen, and we listened to the one on Wolf of Wall Street, so that made us want to watch it again. And so we're listening to the podcast while we're driving, and when I was watching after listening to the podcast, and I went back and watched it, and I noticed that it came up. So this is going to be a little bit long explanation for me to get into what it is, but just stick with me. I promise I'm not wearing a red hat when I say any of this.
Here I am. Leave a message after the beep.
So there's this thing that Trump does when he talks.
Pucker his mouth like an asshole?
No, not that. Well, that
Look
too.
like a fucking
but this isn't
orange?
that's not the thing I'm talking about. You got to stick with me, all right? It's kind of like pushy salesman meets con artist, where basically he's saying a lot of words and doing a lot of things with his hands, but his statement is not progressing forward at all. And if you've seen literally any press engagement with Trump over the past 4 years, you've seen what I'm talking about.
Oh, hell yeah.
And if you're not really trying to listen or pay attention to what he's saying, it seems like the things he's saying are good ideas. Because what he's really doing is he floats like a random ass thought out there, and then he just runs circles around confirming that original random ass thought. So he just keeps confirming and confirming the same thing, and it seems like it's right, but it's only right in the sense that he just said it. It's not actually, the thought is not actually right, but it makes you feel like it's right because he's confirming the thing he said.
Reliable sources, the most intelligible people on the face of the earth.
So if you're not paying attention to any of the words he's actually saying, you'd kind of get this idea that what he's saying is fact, and that's kind of how he gets his base to go with the crazy shit he says. So anyways,
fucking go.
What they were saying on the Rewatchables was that this kind of salesy, pushy tactic is a very Queens way of talking and getting what you want. Like people from Queens, New York, talk and act this way, which is where Trump is from and which is where Jordan Belfort is from. However, Leonardo DiCaprio is not from Queens and is not a pushy salesman / con artist, again, that we know of. But when I watched this movie 2 weeks ago, I understood exactly what they were talking about. You see it as he's playing Jordan Belfort. I could literally see Trump up on his outside his fucking helicopter saying these things and talking.
Oh, hell yeah.
Little mannerisms like that are almost impossible to pull off without actually being from the place or being that type of person to begin with. It's impossible, and Leo was doing it to perfection. You know, there's a lot of accents out there that fall in the same category. Like the Boston accent is really tough if you're not actually from there. A real Southern drawl is really hard to mimic if you're not from there. And then like the differences between Wisconsin versus Minnesota versus like North Dakota versus Chicago, which are all really the same, but they're a little bit different too if you're from any of those areas. And
so
then
basically, yeah, I feel you. I know
there's little variations on them that you know, like if you're from Chicago, you know you're talking to somebody from Wisconsin. And if you're from Wisconsin, you know you're talking to somebody from Chicago. But somebody from California thinks those people are from the same place.
Yeah.
Right?
And then California's the wild card.
Yeah, California's got 100 different accents. And the latest one that I heard, which was just funny to me, and this is a tangent, is upstate New York in the Stars special, Escape at Dannemora, which was about the prison break, the maximum security prison break in 2015 from upstate New York, which is an area where I'm from and where I spent last week snowboarding. It had the actors in this show were doing this mix between like the actual upstate New York accent, a Southern drawl, and they had some Minnesota thrown in there. And it's really not even close to that. But I could see how people who aren't actually from there, or at least haven't lived there for an extended period of time, would never be able to pull it off and never get it exactly right. So I'm watching this show going, these people's accents are fucking terrible. But if somebody else is watching, they wouldn't even notice. They're just thinking, oh, this is a Hicktown accent because it's a Hicktown that the only thing going on is a prison, which is somewhat right. So
I
anyway,
know a couple of those towns.
yeah, oh yeah, there's a ton. So anyway, back just to wrap up on this thought, there were moments in The Wolf of Wall Street that with Leo, I like I said, I saw Trump, trying to cover his ass for the latest stupid thing he did as president, and to me, it's honestly amazing that someone who isn't the least bit that way could pull it off in a way that's actually believable, and you're not seeing straight through like this guy's clearly acting. I don't think Brad Pitt could do that. I don't think Matt Damon could do that. I don't think Christian Bale maybe. There's just not a lot of people who can pull off this smarmy, Queens pushy Trumpisms. Just the way he talks and the way he acts. And this Jordan Belfort character seems exactly that same way, and Leo did it perfect.
So perfectly. He really did personify that character so well, and he was a shit ton of fun to watch.
Yes, and that's the other thing on top of it. This movie was fun to watch. And it was fun to watch. It was 3 hours that you're never bored during the 3 hours. You're engaged with Leo, you're engaged with what he's doing, and that's important for performances for me. Because like I said on The Revenant, he did a great job suffering for 3 hours in that movie, but it's not enjoyable to watch in any way.
So did Jim Caviezel, and yeah, we know how that ended.
Nailed to a cross.
Oh. Dude, I had to see that movie. My parents made me go with them, but there weren't seats next to each other, so I had to sit in the very front row by my fucking self.
Sounds like nap time to me. We watched it. I went to Catholic school in high school, and we watched it in one of my religion classes.
Damn.
And we watched it over like 3 days or something.
Oh shit, that sucks, man.
The first day I was like kind of into it. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Second day I fell asleep. Third day I fell asleep.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a fall asleep in class guy, but I was just out of it with that movie. I didn't care.
It hit me hard when I'm walking up to go inside the theater, and they have a giant, it's like 4 foot tall and 2 foot wide, full of the little mini disposable bags of tissues. And they're like, here, take these tissues, take these. I took fucking 6 of them, boys. Went in there.
We're jerking off the whole time.
No.
That's not what the tissues were for?
I mean, that's why I was in the front row. They need to just see me.
Jerking it for Jesus. I get it.
Jerking it for Jesus.
Okay, so let's move on to best character, and for that we have a Twitter poll. Or not a poll, but a question. Recording part 1. This is at APA something on Twitter. Hit us up. We're recording part 1 of our movie superlatives for the 2010s episode. We don't have a poll, but give us your answer for this question of the week, and we'll give you a shout out. We had some good answers. Who was the best character in a movie from the 2010s, which is the next category we're going to be covering, best character. We got from the VCR Kids at the VCR Kids, great podcast. Check them out.
They really are. Love them.
What's this dude's name? Hector from Coco.
What up, Hector from Coco?
That's okay. That's a good pick. I like Coco. I don't know that he's the best character.
Yeah,
They got to stay on brand with their children's movies, I guess, but
I've never seen Coco, so
Coco's good.
I figured I'd say what up. Nice greeting.
It's no trolls, but
dang, shots fired.
Then we've got Colby Mack at Colby Told Me with a Baby Groot gif. I am not Team Baby Groot gif.
You motherfucker. I mean, the Groot gifs are cute and all. He was cute when he first came along, but I like Teenage Groot a lot better, especially in Jet form.
Teenage Groot is better, and I just don't care. Like, give me a movie with characters, not screaming babies. On the other hand, Baby Yoda's fucking awesome.
He did pick a good gif of Baby Groot though in that jacket. It's very snazzy.
A good what? Self, Hero of Tennessee at Magus of the M. Thanos went out like a bitch. Thanos is a good villain.
He got his head chopped off.
Well, yeah, and then he got snapped into nothingness as well.
I mean, double fail.
Yeah. Thanos died twice. The only villain in a movie to die twice.
Yeah.
That's probably not true.
Terminator's
died like 15 times.
Maybe even 30. Who knows?
GG Podcasting at GG Podcasting, John Wick. I have not seen any of the John Wick movies.
Really?
Yeah. They're not on my radar. I'm not like an assassin movie kind of guy.
No.
Which I don't know why.
I tried watching John Wick 2 and 3. the novelty wore off, but John Wick 1 I could still rewatch all the time because, yeah, it's basically a revenge story, but a dope one.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, I've heard good things about John Wick. I'm not disputing that he's not the best character, like I am with Baby Groot.
I dispute that. I will say that. He is good, though.
Okay. Don Shepard, the dude of comics at God Shepard Hand, wrote Jan Whack.
Jan Whack.
Which, is that a joke that I'm not getting? Or is it just a weird way to say John Wick?
I just thought it was funny as fuck. It's Jan Whack.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. I think of like a shit.
Is that supposed to be like a... Yeah, is that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, it's fucking Jan Whack. He's
right.
whack as fuck, son. There you go.
All right. Maybe, I guess, another vote for John Wick.
It's Jan Whack.
John Whack.
It's fucking Jan Whack.
Munchie's Closet at Munchie's Closet. Michael Scott as MacGruber. So MacGruber, I'll admit, was on my nominations for worst movie.
I've never seen... My dad fucking loved that movie. He's like, dude, son, you gotta fucking watch this movie.
I didn't like it.
It's
Fat Val Kilmer didn't do it for me. I liked the MacGruber sketches on SNL. It just did not hold up over a whole movie for me. I was not a fan.
5 minutes of it.
Michael Scott as MacGruber is way better than all of the MacGruber movies.
Michael Scott as anybody. Him as Bill Clinton would be better than MacGruber as a movie.
Wow. Shots fired.
Shots fucking fired. How do you like that?
Thank you, everyone who participated. It wasn't a poll again. It was just a question. We'll have another question next week when we go into part 2. So we'll cover all that. Please answer our question for a shout out. We're at APA something, at alone _
podcast.
God damn it. At APA something, at alone _ podcast on Twitter. Anything you want to talk to us about, we're there.
Always.
And we've got usually a question or a poll every week that pertains to the episode. So now for my best character.
Hit me, son.
Kylo Ren.
Dude, no
Star Wars
way.
The Force Awakens, 2015.
Man, I love podcasting with you, but brother,
you only got to pick it from one movie. It doesn't have to be the whole 3-movie arc.
Whoa, which movie is that?
From The Force Awakens.
Nah.
Where he's badass.
He's way better than The Last Jedi.
Yes and no. So, first of all, Kylo Ren steps on the screen and stops a fucking blaster bolt in midair with the Force. Okay.
That's novelty, man. He's new.
He's got this tragic backstory of being the son of Han and Leia, as well as being trained by Luke. Like you said, The Last Jedi goes a little bit deeper into that backstory, which is nice. And we talked about it a lot on our Patreon exclusive when we did The Force Awakens, but Adam Driver just did such an amazing job of showing his emotions, his confusion, being lost and knowing what he needs to do, and just generally somehow acting with his face without a face.
He's acting his fucking ass off in that movie,
and,
for sure.
And just a sidebar on that, the mask for Kylo Ren and the voice modulation, dope. It's great and it's terrifying, and he really stood up as one of the better villains that we've seen in this decade. Way better villain than the bitch Thanos, who got killed twice.
I was about to say, if you say
Kylo Ren
Vader,
only got killed once, man.
We are gonna fight.
No, I wasn't gonna say Vader. Yeah. I was trying to think of what the Twitter question just said.
I'll be in Florida in December, and we can throw fisticuffs.
He just looks like a badass overall. He's got the badass lightsaber. You can tell how powerful he is with the Force, but he's also unhinged and somewhat immature with his power as he goes into these tantrums. He's a deeper character than Darth Vader is in the original trilogy, right? Or at least in A New Hope.
Oh, definitely.
Darth Vader is just a menacing presence in A New Hope.
He's a mystery.
You feel more about what Kylo Ren is going through. He's got this. He's trying to live up to the legacy of Darth Vader. That's kind of a cool wrinkle, and I was hoping that got explored a little deeper, and it kind of got lost in The Rise of Skywalker, which we're not going to talk about right now because I don't want to piss you off.
Yeah.
But there's just the depth of character for Kylo Ren was amazing, and I think we see it most we learn the most about him in The Last Jedi, but in The Force Awakens, we see the depth of why he is the way he is. You see how Snoke treats him. You see that he's a little bit second fiddle to General Hux. You see that he's got this immature side of him where he just wants to smash things all the time.
Yeah, baby.
And you see how powerful he is. Plus, you get the great SNL undercover boss skit with him.
Dude, fucking love that
which
shit.
Is amazing.
My name's Matt. I'm a radar technician. But
So what do you guys think of Kylo Ren?
yeah, what do you guys think of
It's
Kylo?
pretty scary, huh?
See, I mean, my thing with Kylo Ren in regards to best character is if he would have been more destructive, which sounds super
I mean, he
silly.
blew up 5 planets. I guess that was Hugs that did that.
Exactly. I mean, what I wanted to see from him was raw rage, and what I saw was him
Did you
was
see him smash those computers, dude?
fuck those computers. They can't
That's
fight
rage.
back. But he was like a pot that was just barely overfilled. You know, it's kind of rocking back and forth and it's spilling a little bit here and there. But if he would have just let himself go,
Well, but see, that's the depth of his character because he's not fully there. He's not fully turned to the dark side like Darth Vader was when we first meet him. He is still teetering on whether he can go back or not. And in the scene with Han Solo, where, spoilers, he kills Han Solo, there's a moment where he's going to go with him. He feels that I'm not supposed to be here with Snoke. So that's why you don't get the full on, like, let's just demolish people.
yeah, I guess I'm...
By the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, after he's taken up the mantle of Supreme Leader, he's there, and you see him when he's looking for the Wayfinder, mowing people down as you kind of want to see early on. But and again, that has its own issues with its own things, but that's when he gets there. He has to fully realize that what he wants is to be there. And in The Force Awakens, he hasn't realized that yet. He's still teetering between light and dark. And the only reason he went with Snoke is because Luke turned on him. He wasn't fully sold that he was going with Snoke no matter what yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're right 100%. My thing is, for such a powerful person, I think it's a confidence issue, actually. It's not necessarily I want to see him enact his power, but it's like, dude, you could go either way and change the balance. Like, you're that fucking powerful. Stop being reactive and
Don't you know what
proactive.
a dyad is? Come on.
I mean, I get it, but he's so reactive. Like, when shit happens to him, he fucking throws a fit instead of just dominating his opponent like he can. And then, you know, if something goes bad later, it's like, all right, well, you know, we'll take care of this shit too.
I'll give you that. Who do you got for best character? I don't have anything else to say on Kylo.
This one will be super quick because we've already beat this.
If we go any further on Kylo, we'll get too far into the Rise of Skywalker.
See our Patreon exclusive at, you know.
Yes, I have.
About something.
If you want to see me gush over Kylo Ren and Adam Driver, head over to Patreon, pay $1 a month, and listen to that Force Awakens podcast because it was really good, and we go pretty far into how great Adam Driver and Kylo Ren are.
We have man crushes on him because he's Adam's swallow. Dude, swole as fuck.
Yeah, he is. All right, so who you got?
I have, for best character, we've already beat this character to death, but I'll say it again. It's Jordan Belfort from A Wolf on Wall Street.
Oh, good choice.
Dude, this character is dope as fuck. You can't help but root for him. You love partying with him. It's super fun to watch. I mean,
I don't want to party with him.
No, he's an utter piece of shit. But I can live vicariously through him.
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy watching him party on the screen.
You know, I can watch it and be like, so that's what crack's like. All right, cool.
I don't want to see those lemon lewds.
I don't know. I might, and then go see like a fish concert. I might find myself.
Go watch Trolls.
Dude,
take the lewds and watch Trolls.
Dude, that would be the answer.
If anybody gets their hands on some Quaaludes and watches Trolls, let us know how that goes.
Yeah, I promise I won't take too many of them and then call you and wreck my Lamborghini. Because I'm not that rich. Ferrari. Either way, I'm not that rich. I'll wreck my Ford Fusion. It starts with an nice. F. It's pretty close.
I used to have a Ford Fusion.
Love Ford Fusions.
I might go back to one. I'm in an SUV right now, and I gotta replace it this year. I don't know what I'm doing.
Get a Ford Edge. Those things are great.
I don't. I'm going off the small SUV. I don't like the small SUV. It's not worth it.
Agree to disagree.
It doesn't have enough trunk space for my chassis. You only got one kid, and they're not big enough to have a bunch of shit yet.
That's true.
Wait till you gotta get that double stroller. You gotta get suitcases, all that crap in there. It's not big enough.
Yeah, fuck all that.
At least with you get a bigger. I feel like you get a bigger trunk in a mid-size car than you do in a small SUV.
Yeah, enough to keep a body in it. What?
That's what I need.
A couple maybe. I don't even know. But they just put those pesky release things in the back now. This is fucking bullshit.
It's tough. You got to really tie them up better nowadays.
Yeah, I know.
So Jordan Belfort.
Yeah. I mean, the pairing up of DiCaprio with Scorsese, that shit's dope. Love it.
Yeah, Like you said, we've beaten a dead horse at this point.
Absolutely.
But it's just such a great performance, and the character himself. See, I looked at this more as more fictional character, and since he was a real guy, I didn't really have him up for best character.
He's so fictional
because that was all
shit.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
I'm not saying he's not, but to me that was all on what Leo put into it, more so than regardless of who played the character, that character was going to be good.
Well, I mean, I look at
now.
it like,
I'm not saying Kylo Ren would have been good if you put fucking
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill in that mask. He wouldn't have been. Thank you. I was looking for a random ass actor. Christopher Mintz-Plasse. You put fucking McLovin in that mask. Kylo Ren's not going to, be as intimidating.
That would be
but other people could have done Kylo Ren. McLovin couldn't have, but other people could have.
Chicken fake ID.
Got my fake ID.
Oh man, it's really not that funny, but it's so funny to me. I don't know why.
It's kind of funny seeing McLovin in that, like with the mask on, like that first time when Kylo Ren takes the mask off, and instead of Adam Driver's face, it's fucking McLovin with the glasses and everything.
Someone punches him right.
Ray's just like, wait. Ray just goes, wait. You're the Sith Lord? No, I'm good.
Right hook to the
take whatever you want from my mind. You're not gonna get far with it.
Yeah. I totally forgot what I was talking about. That was fucking
Jordan
hilarious.
Belfort.
Yeah, Jordan Belfort. I mean, I look at him as a fictionalized character because he brings that level of performance to it. It's so grandiose. It might as well be fake. It's one of those that it's like, I can't
That's
believe
true.
a human being actually
I'll give you that.
This fucking frap, this Banana Land garbage.
And there are parts, and this was something that was touched on in the Rewatchables podcast, and my wife had also read his book. Like, there's parts that they cleaned up for the movie. Like, his life was actually more batshit than it was in the movie.
I'm sure, because he is redonkulous. I read his Wikipedia, and it's like, this dude made prison his bitch. And then he came out a millionaire. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. That's how, that's what Trump's going to do, right? When he gets out of prison?
He's never going to fucking prison. There's no way.
No. That to me, that's a bigger liability than just getting him out of office. You put him in prison, now he has reasons to give up state secrets to try and get out of prison, right?
I mean, he has the capability. He has the connection.
Right. Or to not even to get out of prison, just to basically screw over the people who put him in prison. Don't put Donald Trump in prison. Just let him sit on his fucking golf course with his Secret Service.
Pulling Napoleon.
For the next 4 years of his life. Like, he's not going to live that long. He's not a healthy man.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Send him to a St. Anna and let him live out in peace.
All right, so let's move on. We got 2 more categories that we're going to cover. We're definitely going to cut this off halfway. We probably should have cut it off a third of the way. This might need to be a 3-parter. It's not going.
It's not going.
But these next 2 should be a little easier. Not so deep. Next one is the most forgettable movie. This is one that you saw and then completely forgot existed or what it was even about. This one I remember exists, but completely forgettable movie. 2015 Terminator Genesis.
Dude, that was also on my fucking. I had 2. I picked 2. It was my.
I had 13 to choose from for this.
I had many,
but I had this as disappointing at first because I was excited to bring Terminator back, and then I was like, I don't like Emilia Clarke at all.
Yeah, she fucking.
So I didn't have any expectations going into this, so it couldn't have disappointed me because I knew she was going to be terrible.
Wasn't it Jai Courtney as well in that movie?
Yes, it was Jai Courtney, which I didn't remember until you said his name.
God damn it, he was bad. That movie was just fucking trash.
I don't remember anything that happened in this movie other than John Connor was a Terminator. That's the only thing I remember because it was so stupid to make John Connor a Terminator. And that Emilia Clarke was awful, but again, I don't think that's a memory as much as it's just like my general mind space that Emilia Clarke is awful.
I mean, at the time I went into it like, yeah, Emilia Clarke's dope. Game of Thrones is tight.
She's not. Game of Thrones is tight. Emilia Clarke, not so much.
This is what killed it for me. This movie. It was one of the few that me and my wife, it's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. This movie is so
Not only
bad.
is this movie forgettable on a personal level, this movie is so forgettable that the franchise itself told us to forget that it exists.
Yeah, they're like...
They came back with Terminator Dark Fate, which I haven't seen yet, so I won't. There's no spoilers on that. And they're just like, nah, forget that movie existed.
Yeah.
Emilia Clarke?
Nah.
She don't live here anymore.
Yeah.
We don't know her.
Yeah.
And
who the fuck that?
That's a really weird trend with these older franchises that are trying to reboot right now. Like, they try the hard reboot first. We saw it with Halloween. They brought the Rob Zombie movies. Then Terminator Salvation was kind of a hard reboot. We're going to spend time in the future with John Connor. Didn't work. Predators. We're going to spend time on an alien island finding the Predators. Didn't work. Prometheus. We're going to go... We're gonna complete. This doesn't exist in the Alien universe. We swear it doesn't. These movies are not even in the same universe. Then those movies don't work. So then they try the soft reboot, where you get Terminator Genesis, where it's in the same universe, but it's still kind of different, right? It's different but the same. The Predator does that. Alien Covenant tries to say, okay, yeah, we are an alien movie, but it's not the same as the other alien movies. And then now we bring another sequel to the 40-year-old movie that brings in some of the original actors, and they just cut out all the middle shit that nobody likes. We got it with Halloween in 2018. Got it with Terminator Dark Fate. I know there's another alien movie that's in production that is probably going to try and do the same thing. Don't worry about Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Those don't exist. We're going to start over. It's the same universe, but all those trash sequels, they don't actually count. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we just made those for your money. Just say.
Just cut all the bullshit out.
Try
a reboot. If it doesn't work, reboot it again.
Make a fucking good movie is all I'm saying.
Have you seen the 4 Spider-Man movies?
People have talent.
They're all great.
Yeah.
I love every Spider-Man movie.
I don't know about great.
Well, they're not all great.
Words.
I love all of the Spider-Man movies. Just keep rebooting it. If your reboot doesn't work, reboot it again. Who cares? Like, people are going to bitch for like a day. But people bitch for a day about everything.
And then they move the fuck on.
And here's the other thing. This is a crazy idea. Just leave it alone. We don't need huge franchises for every movie.
How dare you tell me to leave it alone?
Just fucking leave it.
Fuck that. I'm going to go spend $100 million rebooting this series.
Terminator was a good movie?
That's the last thing.
All right, cool. You know what? People can still fucking watch Terminator.
I still do watch Terminator because it's a good movie.
Exactly. You know what I don't watch? Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genisys.
Genisys?
None of those.
It's generally nice as fuck. We call it Genice.
So what was your most forgettable film of the 2010s?
All right, I had two. You mentioned my second one, but my first one was Mother from 2017 with Javier Bardem and what the fuck is her name?
Jennifer
Lawrence.
I am not a J-Law fan.
Okay, so my wife and I watched this movie, and it's something where we watched it all the way through, and it was disturbing as fuck, man.
That's true.
It was.
I've never seen it, but that's what I've heard.
Like, before I went to bed that night, it stuck with me. It was something that just absolutely was destroying my mind. I could not wrap my mind around it. And then I went to bed.
I was half interested in it because the marketing around it was good, and like the early reactions were good. And then, like, super filmy people were like, this movie's great. And then everybody else is like, this movie is garbage. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch it.
It was just like, this movie's fucked up. Like, I don't want to watch this.
You just don't get the symbolism, Nick. You just don't get it, man.
I'll get there. And symbolism plays a big part. But at the same time, I didn't know it was symbolism going into it. I thought it was just a fucking movie. So I'm going into it, and it's just like, wow, I feel really unclean watching that. So I went to bed, and then I woke up the next morning. I didn't think about this movie for 6-7 months, and then I stumbled on an article on Cracked, and that kind of led me down a rabbit hole. And then I saw the iconography or whatever the fuck it's called, and the imagery and stuff like that you were supposed to pay attention to, and it's like, okay, that adds a lot of context, but for the most part.
But maybe some of that should have been text. Like, we should have known that we were looking for this.
Exactly. And that's kind of, talking about, like, Adam and Eve and shit like that. It's like...
Well, and so that's a lot of people's problem with The Rise of Skywalker is all of this stuff is explained in these supplemental materials, a lot of it in the visual dictionary. Like, you shouldn't have to read a novel or a fucking encyclopedia to know what is going on in the movie. The movie should at least be able to answer the questions it raises.
Hell no. I agree with you 100%. I like to consider myself a decently smart guy. I can pick up on shit that's inferred and stuff like that, but this was so lightly inferred. It was ridiculous. So it was something that my brain quickly moved on. I love puzzles. I love figuring shit out. Movies that
So,
offer
like,
a challenge.
you know what's a good example?
What's that?
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko's fucking
Great
great.
movie.
Great.
So Donnie Darko, if you just watch the movie, you can understand what happens throughout the movie. You have to wait till the end to get all the answers to your questions, but you understand what happened. And it answers the questions that it raises in a generally serviceable way. However, if you go to the supplemental materials, Richard Kelly's website that he built around it, it's so much deeper that it can give you a deeper understanding of what's going on, but it doesn't ruin the movie if you don't know it. Like, the movie is still great whether you have looked at that website or not, and that website is fucking crazy, and it's got little, like, puzzles to solve and things like that, which is great. And it just brings you deeper and deeper into this time travel and what's going on in the alternate dimensions and all of that, and kind of why Donnie Darko is making the decisions he makes. But if you don't have that, then you still understand the movie, which is good.
Right.
But
I mean,
some of these movies, Mother is a good example of one, tries to do that, but it doesn't actually textually ever answer anything. You have to go outside the movie to figure out what you're supposed to be looking for, and then come back and watch it again.
Exactly.
And it's like, I'm not going to put that much effort into watching a movie if it wasn't enjoyable.
Well, I mean, I'm going into this movie. I'm not a particularly religious guy, so when I watch movies, I don't have religious connotations in the back of my fucking mind the whole time.
No, even like The Matrix, which is super heavy in like the Jesus iconography, right?
Yeah.
The third one especially. I saw that movie probably 3 times before I read the first article of like Neo is Jesus type thing.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh yeah, he is. Okay, that makes sense. But again, it doesn't hurt my enjoyment of the trilogy before I knew that. I like all 3 of the Matrix movies. I know a lot of people don't, but that's neither here nor there. Like, that's another thing that, like, if I'm not thinking that, okay, Neo is Jesus throughout this whole thing, it ruins the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how Mother was for me. It's like, okay, once I found this, I had to read a fucking article to kind of get down that path. It was in that context, it was a better movie. But that's what made it so forgettable in the first place. It was just like,
but it wasn't good or enjoyable without knowing all that other stuff.
Exactly.
So,
it was absolutely booty. It was just not absolutely. So
if you would have never read that article, that movie would have just not existed in your head.
It was just like, okay, this is point blank how it made me feel. I wanted to slap Darren Aronofsky across the face.
He's a weird dude.
It's like,
a lot of people want to slap him across the face.
Why the fuck are you ripping babies apart, dude? What the fuck is wrong with you? And I mean, you can show fucked up shit when it's kind of based off real life and stuff like that, like Holocaust films and stuff like that. You know, Band of Brothers comes to mind, Schindler's List. But when it's, I don't know.
Not in service of anything?
Well, exactly. When I have no context for it, it's just like, okay, I'm going to move the fuck on, and I'm never going to watch anything you ever put out again. Because that was...
I mean, Black Swan is really good, though.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's really good. It was in the running for best movie and favorite. That was another one that just fell out of everything because I liked things a little bit better. But it's really good.
I'll have to check
Not
it out.
Quite as fucked up as Mother. I had 13 possibilities for forgettable, and a lot of those were ones that, like, literally, I would have never thought of the movie if I didn't read it on my 600 movie list. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I could talk about those, and I thought Terminator Genisys fits better because the studio actually wants you to forget about it.
They're begging you to forget about it.
Like, that is definitely most forgettable if the people who made it don't even want you to remember.
Fuck yeah.
So let's move into most rewatchable. You get to go first here. This is basically the movie that will age the best and that you'll want to keep watching over and over.
Mine's simple, buddy. We've discussed it before, but I'll say it again.
Good Will Hunting.
You like
Not
apples?
From the 2010s.
You fucking like apples, bud? No, that was the worst Boston accent I could ever.
That wasn't a good Boston accent.
No. But, yeah, most rewatchable. Thor Ragnarok. 2017, Taika Waititi. Fucking love this movie. It is.
That was definitely awesome. in my nominations for this.
It's one of those I could pop in anytime and enjoy that movie. Everything about it is hilarious. You
can jump in and out of it whenever you want without really worrying about it.
Chris Hemsworth is hilarious in that film. Jeff Goldblum. I mean, Mark Ruffalo is pretty great as Hulk,
You
and
could watch pretty much any 30-minute chunk and have an enjoyable time.
yeah, you
Or
could
you could
break
watch
that
the whole
movie up
thing.
into episodic features and still
Yeah.
watch it that way, and it would be great.
Or if you're just like, all right, you're waiting for your wife to get ready and it's on cable, you could jump in for those 20 minutes and be entertained that whole time, which is, that's what the rewatchable category is all about, right? Is just something you can jump in and out of. If it's on TV, you're stopping to watch it at least until the next commercial, if not further than that.
Right? It's like, yeah, I know I'm for work.
Yeah, you're in right there.
Boom.
You see Loki doing his stupid play. You're in right there. Boom. You see Valkyrie coming to save the Asgardians. You're in. It doesn't matter what point you turn it on. You're in for at least the next 30 minutes, but probably the whole rest of the movie.
I'm going the whole rest of the movie. That's how it's grab me every single time. If it's on Netflix and, say I come home, my wife's got it on TV in the background while she's cleaning up or something, I sit down on my fat ass and watch it.
Yeah, you're sitting. You're not going like, oh, well, I got shit to do. You're like, oh, guess I'm not getting that done.
Or I'm going to figure out how to do this shit while I watch this movie. Because
right. I was going to do this in the other room, but let me move all this shit over to this room so I can watch with you now.
Yeah, let me take 15 minutes and be loud as fuck and just distract the shit out of you. But I will be in here watching this movie with you. So how about that?
You just be loud when Hulk first turns back into Banner. That's like a good 10-minute stretch where you don't have to do anything.
My wife's wicked smart in regards to like movies she's seen before. She knows when shit's gonna get loud, so she'll turn it down quiet for the baby.
That's nice.
Yeah, so either way, I'm fucked.
So I went down the exact same path. Well, not the exact same path, but rewatchability, turn on whenever, all that good stuff that we just talked about. I had 10 movies that I nominated for most rewatchable, and I landed on, and this one stuck out in my mind. I didn't even need to make the list for this. I knew what I was going with just as I was thinking through it in my mind. The answer is Pitch Perfect from 2012.
Damn, never watched it, man.
Oh my god, you have got to get up on your girl comedies, man.
My wife
Mean Girls, Pitch Perfect.
She wants to watch Doctor Who and other nerdy and sexy shit.
That's fine, but this is also very good. Pitch Perfect. It's honestly one of my favorite movies.
Pitch Perfect,
and it's got.
Sorry, what? Refresh me. Who's in that?
Oh, I'm going to. It's Anna Kendrick is the star. Again, I'll watch almost literally anything with Anna Kendrick, excluding Twilight, but those aren't her movies, so it doesn't count.
She's also very funny.
She's just great and extremely likable in every one of her movies. Brittany Snow is in it. Anna Camp is in it. Rebel Wilson. I'm probably naming these people. You don't know who they are. Adam Devine from Workaholics is in it. It's just a lot of kind of bit characters that do a really good job in the periphery of the movie. All of the songs that they picked for Pitch Perfect are amazing. The first Pitch Perfect. The second two, I could take it or leave it. I don't need them.
They made 3 of them bitches?
Yeah. The song choices are great, and they're all really performed well, and they just fit the movie so well. And then a great thing that Pitch Perfect did is that it relied heavily on older songs. They weren't like, okay, let's get all the best songs from 2011, 2012 and throw them in here, which would have been like a really easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. The music in the movie doesn't ever feel dated because it feels as dated as it's supposed to when it was released in 2012. They play a lot off 80s and 90s music. They've got No Diggity in there. They've got some Ace of Base in there. Don't You Forget About Me from the Breakfast Club soundtrack. Things like that are the songs that they're singing. So the movie was made to already feel like they're singing old songs. So when you watch it 10 years later, you're not going like, wow, this music is bad and terrible. They pick these kind of cult classic-y songs
timeless songs.
Right. They bring up nostalgia in you regardless of when you're watching it. Whereas if they picked songs from 2011 or 2012, if I watched it now, I'd be like, well, I don't want to listen to these songs. I kind of liked them then, but they sound honestly terrible.
So is it a musical?
No, it's a comedy. They are an a cappella group. So they do a lot of they are trying to work their way to the national a cappella championships, right? So they just do these different a cappella performances throughout the movie.
It's pitch as in tone of voice,
Yes,
not pitch
correct.
as in pitch. Okay.
Yes.
I follow you, sir.
Like I said, Anna Kendrick is great. The performances across the board just phenomenal. Rebel Wilson is really good in it. It was before she got too Rebel Wilson-y, and this movie was kind of the reason I think she got too Rebel Wilson-y. This was like the first one that she did it in, so it's a little better. You watching it, having seen Rebel Wilson and other things before you saw her in this, you might not like it as much, but
She definitely needs to tone it down a little bit.
This is where she kind of started to ramp it up. But doesn't go over the top because she's not the main character. She's like the fifth character in this movie.
So she's tolerable. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, very tolerable. There's a B plot with Anna Kendrick having a boyfriend that's trying to get her interested in movies and like how the soundtracks of movies really make or break the movie, which is kind of a great and fun little side plot. And it kind of sums up how college relationships actually work. Like, these two people have this one thing in common, a cappella, but then the one realizes that the other one doesn't care about this other thing that they love, and so now this dude has to show her every movie with a great soundtrack all of a sudden. Like, he's got to make sure she sees it all. Like, that's how college relationships are like, you don't like this thing? I'm going to show it all to you.
Yeah,
until you like it, goddammit.
Let me cram this down your throat. Enjoy.
Never works out. Then you break up 2 months later.
And then you're, listening to Nirvana in your dorm room while you drink wild turkey. Just that never happened to me.
Suspiciously specific.
Yeah, it never happened to me, but I knew a few people that it did happen to.
I never really cared for a cappella music, but it's really, really enjoyable in this movie. It's just infinitely rewatchable. It's like you said with Thor Ragnarok, it's one of those movies that you can jump in at any point. If it's on cable or it's on in the background, somebody else is watching it, you're just going to sit down and watch the rest of the movie.
Those are such good movies. I'll have to check that out.
Okay, if you don't do anything else, Nick, go to YouTube as soon as we hang up, because we're about done with this. Go to YouTube and look up Pitch Perfect. I think it's called like the Pitch Off or something like that. The Riff Off. That's what it is. Pitch Perfect, the Riff Off. They're in like this big empty swimming pool, and it's just a bunch of different a cappella groups, and they have to. One of them starts singing a song, and the next group has to pick up the song where they pick up with a different song where the first group left off. It's this really cool scene, and it really makes the whole movie. But watch that, and then you'll want to watch the rest of the movie for how great that scene is. So just YouTube, Pitch Perfect 1 Riff Off, and you'll be in love with it already.
I'm there. I'll do it, dude. Already got it pulled up.
Awesome. That's all we've got for part 1. We gave you most rewatchable, most forgettable, best character, best performance. I got a lot of notes, so it's hard to scroll through them. Most disappointing movie and the most surprising movie in part 1. Next week we will be back with 4 more awards to give out. We've got most important movie, worst movie, best movie, and our favorite movies from the last decade. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, we'll be back there, and then we've got some extra fun stuff at the end of that one. But thank you for listening. Thank you for everyone who participated on Twitter. Be sure to check out our Patreon page, as we mentioned earlier, patreon.com/podcastaboutsomething. We do a lot of movie reviews over on there because we don't go too deep into the movies here. We do deeper movie reviews on Patreon. If you like us talking about movies, check that out, because there's some off-the-wall movies that we talk about there.
Yeah, we go above and beyond. That's for sure.
One of the movies we talked about was almost up for an award. Well, I guess The Force Awakens technically, but different one was up for a different award, and we haven't gotten to that award yet, but I'll mention it next week when we talk about it.
That's right.
That's a tease for you right there. That's how we do it in the biz.
Dang.
All the music for Podcast About Something is provided by Those Cats, and I want to thank Audio Media for our new logo, which will be posted with this episode for the first time, so you guys will get a look at that. If you are a podcaster and are looking for a new logo, check out Audio Media. Hit me up on Twitter or email, whatever. I will send you links to them to get in touch with them. Did a great job, really easy to work with, not too pricey. That's all I got for them. But all the music is provided by Those Cats.
You gotta stay sassy.
Stay classy.